So, hello, Alexander. Welcome back.
Hi, Julius.
Hey, welcome back to the workshop clinic. Today, we have a very special case, very interesting case, from my friend Lena, who works at Clue, the app for tracking your menstruation cycle, I think, and other features. So it's a very nice company based in Berlin. And she's doing UX research there, and she gave us the case of introducing in a workshop of 60 minutes, introducing the personas they came up with.
Oh.
So they did their research, they came up with 4 personas that are well-defined, probably. And so now the challenge is, how can I introduce those 4 personas to the rest of the team virtually, 60 minutes. And she was keen on so that they really build empathy for these personas. So it's not just like, presenting them and saying like, this is our persona 2, 3, and 4, but also giving the team a chance or space in these 60 minutes to really go into the world of the persona and really understand it, because for them it's really important to build their products in a user-centered way, obviously. And they spend a lot of time developing these personas, and so now they want the whole team to really onboard them into these, so they will be used and the features will be developed close to the user. And I will share my screen again, and also I will give you the link to the board.
So the situation is there was one team that worked on the personas, worked them out, and now it's to introduce them to others that have not been working on that task.
Okay. Exactly. And Alexander, I will also make you co-host in case somebody comes in and wants to be admitted, because I don't see it sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you can just get them in. That would be fantastic. Okay, so did I give you the board? No, not yet. Here it is.
Yeah.
So what I thought would be like, first off, I think like personas have gotten a little bit of a bad reputation, or like there's always this kind of concerns around persona, because sometimes they're very like stereotypical, or like they're like, you can see that they're very superficially constructed. And I think, I have seen many articles, and like also like the kind of like when I see in projects people like always like, yeah, but personas, are you sure maybe you should do jobs to be done instead of personas, because it's much more precise and you can do a lot of jobs to be done. But I think I really like to do personas still, because I think especially when you teach design thinking or human-centered design, it's a really good visual representation. Like, it's very clear for somebody who learns design thinking why you do them, because you have this kind of like it's very easy to put your thoughts into that and see the problem from that perspective by having this representation. So I still like doing personas, and I think also like a lot of the criticism is maybe because sometimes personas are not very well done. So like these kind of, I don't know, the vegan hipster that only goes to very special restaurants. But like, what's really important, and I'm not really interested in how that person is or like how it looks like, but it's more like, okay, what is the motivation behind it? And often in these personas, this is missing. That the attitudes and the motivations, and it's just a surface. So I think personas are still are a brilliant tool, and definitely have their place if you do them right. So, but okay, this is a little persona rant, but what I thought for this 60 minutes, and we will do it like last week, no? I will present what we came up with, or like what I would do for 15 minutes, and then we can just, you can add on and we can have a discussion about it. And
yeah.
Okay, so first, it's like definitely I would start the 60 minutes. It's a virtual setting, so of course some kind of warm up, just to get people engaged, and also, you know, bring them together in the digital space, kind of disconnect them also from all the other stuff they have going on, and kind of bring them mentally into the same space. And I really like, I thought of a warm-up that is more like, I thought about two warm-ups you could do. One would be kind of and this is more for the purpose of bringing them really into the workshop and into this group. So like do like a meditation, maybe. A meditation that is already kind of going into the direction of who are our personas. So maybe tell, you know, a guided meditation about one persona, or like their users in general, or something just to make them, I don't know, close their eyes, get away from all the other tabs that are still open, and make them concentrate in the task at hand, which is getting to know the user. I don't know, maybe like, no, the whole thing is like 10 minutes. And do a quick guided tour, 5 minutes, and use the other 5 minutes for time for getting to welcome everybody and stuff like that. And the second warm up that I thought of that you could also do very easily in a virtual space, which also kind of has to do something, or like trains this kind of empathy muscle already, is introduce somebody else in the call. So I assume they know each other because they have been working with each other, and they know themselves. So I introduce somebody else as an animal. So pick somebody, or you team them up, and then you need to kind of think of an animal that person represents. And this is kind of like already, you know, kind of, you have to think about that person. It's a little playful, some loves. Could be a good warm-up for that. It depends on where you want to go with this. And after that, I would just have another blog, which is basically introducing the personas by, oh, I should have done the box afterwards. And I
Let's
would
think out of the box. That's fine.
Exactly. Go beyond the box. Boxes are for people that think in boxes. So, but introducing the personas, I wouldn't let them like just, you know, present them or like go through them, because I think it would take a long time. For personas, I would do like a gallery walk. Just put them there, very visual on a board, and let everybody. I don't know exactly how many people will be in the workshop, but I think like, you know, maybe like 20 or something like that. Gallery walks, that just put them on a board, and with all the stuff that you have worked out on them, and let people read it, and maybe have a space below where you can just give feedback when you don't have to, but just give them a space to, if they have questions, if they want to add something, if they're wondering about something, a space where they can put their thoughts. And yeah, maybe like 10 minutes for that. so everybody, it's tight, but so like everybody has read about the personas, all the personas, or like 10 minutes maybe. And after that, I would split them into groups. So no, same mistake again. Okay, split them in groups. And because I feel like if you're really trying to understand something, no, you need to work on it, or you need to add something to it, or try to modify it, to really understand it. And I thought, okay, you have the persona. Why don't you put that persona in action in order for it to really understand her or him? So, for example, could be like, build a scenario where this persona goes shopping, or I don't know, what kind of vacation would that persona do, or I don't know, how's Christmas party look for that persona. So something something where they really need to empathize with the persona and like kind of put them in a space, or like in an action. And I think for the time being, because this is 60 minutes and like it's quite a lot to do, I would let them work for 15 minutes, and I would disconnect it from work. So like I wouldn't put this in a work scenario, or like, what they're trying to achieve with the application. So I would make it fun or loose, and like something every day, like vacationing, or like dinner with friends. How would that look like for the persona? Or I don't know, make it very local. If the team is in Berlin, it's like, which restaurant would that person go to on her birthday or something like that? Put them in action. Build a scenario. AG. And this is basically like, put them in breakouts and let them work 15 minutes, maybe a little bit shorter even, because it's tight. And then afterwards have them share it. And I was wondering if there could be a better method for this, instead of just letting them present it, because again, I think it will take a lot of time. Have 4 groups present in 15 minutes. That's like, I don't know, 3 minutes per person, per group. It's kind of tight. You need disciplined participants and good timing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't come up with something better. So maybe you have a good idea there. So share this for 15 minutes with the whole group, bring everybody together, and exactly at the end have just a quick reflection about what they learned, about the personas, about what is going on with the personas, about the design process. Maybe I would leave that open, and what they're wondering about. And this will be, well, like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Do we have time still? Open 15, 10, 20. Oh yeah, fantastic. 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes. And just have a loose round and ask in the big group. So like, not everybody needs necessarily to speak up, but collect some highlights, dig a little deeper if you have still time into why they learned it, why they are wondering this. because I assume also it's not just done with the presentation of the personas, but it's like it's an ongoing process. I mean, they will probably evolve, and you already collected some feedback here in the introduction, and maybe the design team of the personas can also learn something from the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, that's what I would do, I think.
I think that's a nice plan. It's funny because I just recently did for the first time workout personas.
Mm-hmm. And
actually, I could even use that because we haven't shared that with a bigger audience. So that
there you go, Alexander, take it.
It's spot on, totally. And so the creating these personas was hard enough. And I had a feeling that it was not clear for everybody to make them their personas. So they are there now. I think we have about 6. They're on a mirror board. What now? And of course, the whole project evolves, and we're doing, we did the classic round of interviews, and now it's all about wireframes and stuff. And the personas are like a little bit separate. They're still standing there. Let me start from, so I think it's very important to think about what is the team doing with these personas. Actually, what are the next steps? But let me start from the top, because I was also thinking about a warm-up yesterday. My daughter, she's like into YouTubers, unfortunately, but there's one smart guy, and maybe you know that, but they had a game of putting emojis and combining emojis so that you have like a city or a brand or like combination. So you have to get into your visual capabilities. And it's similar to the introducing somebody else as animal, because you have to think about like a typical feature and it like how's the hair, and you're kind of comparing that. And this combination of I don't know if one could do that with like VIPs or with like famous people. Yesterday I saw it with the cities. So you had like, one was funny, like a what's it in English? Down. Yeah, you had like a little emoji for Dam, and then Stadt, and that was Darmstadt. I think I thought it's really, really, and there were
but I like it because you have to really think, okay, what is the defining characteristic of it?
Exactly. What is the essence of it? And I think this is about personas. Also, what's the essence? What's the typical? I mean, I understand the discussion because it's also a lot of cliches and bias and all that stuff, putting people into boxes. So I think there's a lot of explanation needed by personas. So that was my first idea. And I love the gallery walk. So it should be as physical as possible. So the challenge here is to make it virtual, right? If it would not be virtual, I've read in a book, one of the IDEO guys, Tom Kelly. I always mix up which of the brothers. So the people that really made design thinking, huge. They used to, I think it was the thing about the toothbrush. If they can't put the person in the room when they're designing, new tooth, they have like a picture plotted on, thick paper, and they really put it in every single meeting. And I thought that's really strong to visualize to people what we're doing this for, right? So the more visual, the better. So I love the walk, like a gallery. Of course, you always have the pictures, and the more physical and tangible, the better. And these pictures should be actually in every single meeting, or somehow be shown in every virtual meeting right before, something like that.
What if you could have, you know, in every Zoom call, like, I don't know, there's a tool that lets every persona join as
That's
a little
cool.
avatar or something like that.
That's cool, because
That
they're
would
always
be cool, no?
there.
I mean,
Yeah,
like, they don't need to
always
say
there.
something, they just need to be there. So you're constantly reminded, like, okay, there is our persona in the room as well. Fantastic.
It makes people conscious. And I had that in one workshop also, where we like painted that person and thought about, you know, like typical fears and challenges and stuff. And it was the flip chart was there the whole day, and people would go back to that. And like we even, you know, they gave them a name. It was not classic personas, but they even gave them a name. And like, what would that person do now? Yeah. So I think, yeah, to have a Zoom call as avatars, like they're just watching, they're there.
Exactly. Maybe they can be slightly animated and like sometimes just
Yeah. And
I don't know,
yeah,
look around,
you
wander
need an
around.
artificial intelligence to make them like laugh or look like really, oh, what's that? Yeah,
But I
that's a
love that idea, you know, and also like, I mean, like the personas, I mean, like when you have the personas, what you said at the beginning, no, it's also like, okay, what now? It's nice, I understand them, but how can you, how do they influence our work, really? And that's, I think it's crucial to have them there.
Yeah. So
Present.
was it just exactly? So what was it? Just a silly exercise? Because that's what you do, and or are you really working them in? And of course, it also comes to the quality of the personas. Does it make sense? Yeah. So I love the idea to make them real in people's minds by thinking about, okay, what would they do in this and that situation? I really like that, for people to empathize. So not just read, but extend the whole profile, the personas. It's extending it, right? And also possibility could be, I'll let you write first. It's difficult to write.
Even Madeleine is not here today. It's like, yeah, I need my co-host. I'm just developing this. Maybe reflection is not so necessary in that workshop. What I thought of, but maybe like what you said, really maybe take a few minutes to kind of sketch out how these personas will be involved in the rest of the process or in everybody's work, because I assume that not everybody in the workshop will be working very closely with those personas or like is involved in the design process, but they will still have, I mean, it would be great if they would still have those personas in mind when they do their work, no? And how could that work? How can we achieve that?
Yeah, that's the critical part that, you know, separates that from an exercise for a team, or actually what are you doing with them. So, but I still love the empathizing part, and to make people empathize, and to, you know, in every workshop, it's not just listening, it's doing something. So I would definitely do the breakout part, the first part. So maybe because of time, we could take out the sharing part, and then I would really concentrate on, okay, now what? What are you doing? I think everybody should think about, what am I doing with these personas in the next steps? Like whatever task they have in like product development or, you know, testing, experimenting. How can I use these personas? I think that's a critical part to really make it set And they should not think about that after the workshop or in the next workshop, but in that workshop already.
I love that, Alexandra. I think you're right. I think the sharing, because it's super short for everybody. And I think it's not necessary, because also people don't need to know what everybody, I mean, like they build the empathy for them already with the persona.
Yep.
No? And this is the whole exercise. If you just listen to 3 other, maybe it's funny stories in there that could you know, have good laughs, but it's like, I think you're right, it's not that important that they share it actually, but it's like they build the empathy, and then kind of they need to find out, it's more important to, okay, how can we continue working with them? I love that. Fantastic.
What about, I'm thinking, is it important to think about how personas interact? I mean, if it's a B2C setup like this year, probably not. Probably they're kind of distinct personas. If you think of a B2B scenario, it's probability is high that these personas will interact with each other. So that could be another spin. The personas that we worked on, definitely these are like people that would work together, and it's important how they work together in a corporate scenario. So that really depends on the character of the personas, if they will meet in real life, or it could be like an extra exercise to
could be a fun
understand the
exercise.
dynamics. Yeah, like when you started with the whole topic, I was also thinking of role play. Maybe we need a little bit more time for it, but that could also be an exercise to empathize, is to actually play that persona with what would they say, what would they do, how would they complain. I mean, it's, you want to identify problems they have, frustrations they have. So I always like these sentences, I hate that, or my problem is, or it's really frustrating me, blah, blah, blah. So that could be a nice dynamic to play out that frustration about a situation. And that's why, you know, the new product is really needed.
Oh yeah, I love that idea. A role play, yeah. It's
and
nice.
that's kind of sophisticated.
Also, like virtually, they kind of work as well. Okay, obviously in physical space, it's a much more it's a little smoother and maybe a little bit more exciting. But I can also remember virtual role plays when, you know, people get so creative. No, like they change their backgrounds and all that.
Yeah.
In a jungle and stuff like that. I mean,
totally.
It kind of works.
And maybe it's in the virtual setup, it's much easier for introverts to also be part of it. I can imagine role play, and it depends on the team, of course, if they're comfortable with each other. But a lot of people are like, what, role playing? And then the whole 3D and being physical is even more intimidating. And it's maybe could be a little bit easier to, like what you said with the background. That's a good idea. Because the task of the whole workshop is for them to empathize and to really get into them. Oh, okay, Madeline. You see,
look who's here. Yes. I mean, like I'm already kind of considering maybe the gallery walk is also not really needed. No, I mean, like maybe it's good to kind of give an overview for everybody. So this is our person. Maybe it's needed.
I like the gallery walk. Hi,
hello, Madeline.
Hi. No, I really like the gallery walk because it comes close to that what Tom or the other brother Kelly said. like really, I don't know what's in English, an Aufsteller, yeah, Pappaufsteller, to really create something that can be like even brought from one room to another, and it's always there, and it's like big. So the gallery walk comes close to that. So
kind of an analogy, you know, like it visually it works in the same kind of way.
Yeah, and you can do that very nice on a virtual board. And like, where would it be like a gallery, or like kind of that's a party, meet everybody, or you know, how would you normally introduce each other? Or like, you know, like these criminals, like the criminal shots in American movies. Maybe some.
I mean, yeah, you could definitely play around with, like, you know, not just put them together, but maybe like make it more playful. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. What about I don't know how big the team is of these people that suggested that, but what if the personas are actually there? You know, if they have 3 personas, I'm representing one persona, you are another persona, and the other is the other persona, and you can have a drink or a party to, like, you know, like they get to know the persona by talking or something like that. So it's not so, it's kind of like the gallery wall with the real person there.
Yeah, we were thinking about a role play, even because that needs to be prepared, and you need to have the people that that are there. And Julius had the idea, even like with technology in a virtual setup, if it's not on site, because the challenge here was to do it virtual. Maybe there's a tool that could put like avatars, like additional participants into the virtual meeting. And like we're 3 now, and it would add 4 more personas, and they're like in the virtual room.
Ah, okay, but they
just to remind you that you're deciding for them. It's like a little bit like this kind of this. I'm not sure if it's true, but the Amazon thing where there's like always an empty chair in every meeting for the customer or something.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's cool. And I mean, with all the VR stuff coming up, that could be even, you know, like really cool to have the avatars there and really have an immersive experience that would put these persona introduction workshops to a whole new level, I guess. Yeah. But the last part is really something important, Madeline. We thought about how can we make people really take these personas in their everyday work life and what they have to do, so that it's not just the workshop. Okay, I've seen them and they're there. Okay, but wouldn't it be nice to make the participants already think about, this is a situation where I will ask that persona, or this is how I will introduce them in my work life.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a concept or a way other than them saying, but not really like an exercise. So
yeah, well, I think like for the workshop, it's just enough to also, you know, put out that question. Okay, let's think about how does these influence your life, your work that you do here? Like, how can you, how do these different types? I mean, like, it's also because it's like 4, no? That means also in some extent that you, depending on who of these personas you're focusing on right now, you would need to change the way you do things, no? I mean, you cannot focus on them for all the time. So it's maybe also as a team, you have to be clear on, okay, maybe this feature is, you know, this is for this persona. How can you bring the personas in your Scrum meetings, you know, or something in your backlog? How can you represent them? Is there like a do you add another category in your cards or something like that? No, I think it's a fantastic way, necessary way to end the workshop.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we said last time. Like end on a high.
Well, it's more like a to-do list.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, exciting. I need to change something, and it's also the question: do I have to change something in my work already because I've learned something? Because okay, I never thought about that frustration, or I never thought about this could be a persona we're talking about. I mean, I imagine, I hope it's something new that's presented there. Yeah, so in general, the reflection part is important. What did I learn? Something is something new. What do I take out of it, and how exactly will that influence my next days and weeks and months? Because personas are very often a part of a project, like a product development, right? Or like in my case is UX, UI overhaul of the whole product. So there's always a reason. Personas are not just, oh, let's do personas today. There's always something coming up, right?
And it could also be interesting to, before you introduce them, give also the team the reason why you made them.
Yeah.
No?
Oh yeah.
I think this is a good. This should be here, because I mean, I know Lena. She's very reflective and a very reflective practitioner in UX. So she probably has a whole catalog of reasons why they did it way, and also maybe give the teams a kind of hint of why and how, like, or like a general idea why they turned out that way. I mean, like, there's probably a lot of reasons. What was the first thing?
But I think it also depends on how acquainted the people they're presenting to are with the concept of personas, and how they are different from user groups or market research. So I think, I don't know who their audience is for this workshop. That also needs to be clarified. That is not about demographics, it's about needs that are being consolidated in this avatar, and what is the purpose of them. So maybe that is something that, depending on the audience, needs a little bit of clarification about what they are and what they are useful for. Although maybe it's actually a good thing that what they could be useful for should come afterwards, at the end, as a outcome of what they experience in the workshop, because then that will stay longer with them than just mentioning something at the beginning, right? That's the thing with experiential learning, that if you go through it and you see the value of it, it will stay with you if we manage as facilitators to help you reflect on that and make it visible for yourself. So I wonder if that the usefulness of it should be explained at the beginning, or maybe leave it for a reflection question, which is what you propose, Alexandra, no? Like how to integrate this into our workflows. I think that that would be a great idea for making these learnings be linked to reality.
Yeah, maybe it's two parts of the same thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, why did we came up with them? Also, what you said, the distinction between personas and user groups, and because it might not be clear to everybody what's the difference. And at least in my team, and Madeline, we just did, I just did this for the first time with personas. So this is very, very current for me. And with us, it was also discussion, what is it actually? Like we're more thinking into in stakeholders and whom to sell it and stuff. And of course, we know there are certain user types, but what is actually a persona and what it's for? So definitely an introduction, because I doubt that everybody's heard the name or the thing of personas, but do they really know what it is? And maybe also, as you said, what was the process? How did we came up with them, to give a little bit more background and transparency?
Yes, and also, why should I trust these personas? You know, like how are they built? And I think that that's a great opportunity to show also the amount of work that was done behind, that this is not an avatar that we put together, but you know, we interviewed X amount of people, we did this X amount of, I don't know, whatever, like user interviews or something like that, to also see that this is a kind of like it's not a gimmick, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. I love the point to say, why should I trust them?
Yes, because I've seen also in the past that when this is not done, personas are a nice thing to have to decorate a wall, but not really to be used. So I think this is important that we are tackling here, is like why you should trust it, why this is a good instrument for your work, and at the end, how would you integrate it? I think that that completes the circle of, you know, be able to empathize, but also know that you can also use it. It's not only a fun exercise to do or something like that. Although they are not going to build the persona here, right? Like they are going to be presented with the personas.
Exactly. It's just for presenting them to the rest of the team. So like the core team came up with the personas, and now it's, you know, time to present them to them. It's not, as far as I understood from Lena, it's not about so much about like getting feedback on them or like, you know, adapting, but more like just initial step. Okay, these are the personas that we came up with, and she wanted for them to empathize with them. So like really dig into those.
Yeah, understand those different needs and concerns.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that to kind of like, yeah, make visible also the journey of how you created. You know, we interviewed these and these persons. You know, give our numbers or like, you know, something for them to see. Like this is not something that we, you know, thought of last week, and now
Maybe
now we are showing it them to you.
Do a combination of like explain it also, and I know Lena can do that because, you know, she's very like a practitioner, like methodic. So like how many people we interviewed, like, you know, all this kind of data stuff that gives them somehow also some, for the people that resonate with numbers, it gives also more, I don't know, credibility or trust. But it's interesting because the more we talk about why would you trust the persona, I think these people need to be there somehow, you know, like it cannot be just a picture, you know, like not the real people, the people they interviewed with, but a representation of the persona, like if it was a human.
Or this, you need to do a casting, you need to find somebody that is, and then that person is in the meeting. That's how it is. Alternative idea. Okay.
That would really, I mean, that would be
this goes
work.
also to the role play idea that you had, Alexander. I took it a little, like I understood it a little differently, but maybe you had the same thought actually.
I thought more of the participant to take that role, to understand, okay, that's the person, that's what I understand, and to reflect, this is how I would play them. But of course, that's also very specific to the characters in the team, right? If they would do it, because I mean, people are so afraid of that damn role play in workshops. So I would I would understand. It depends on the team and if they're into it. So to take people from the outside and let it play, that's also a cool idea.
What about like speed dating with the personas?
Yeah, no.
You know?
Now we're getting into the crazy ideas. Fantastic. Keep them coming.
It's a very good idea, speed dating. Yeah, how do we get in contact with that person? I think that would be really fun. I mean, if you have like the money and the time to find actors or friends to do it,
then I'd be happy to be one of your personas. If it's not in German, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a whole new job role, or like reinventing a new.
It's a new
role
service. It's a new service. If you want your team to empathize with your personas, we enact them and role play them with them.
Exactly.
Also
hire us.
For all the actors that don't have jobs.
Excellent idea, actually. Okay. Then you become a corporate actor.
Yeah.
Or a business model.
A different kind of business model, exactly.
There's our business model joining.
I'm not that smart. I took it from Arrested Development or something. No, you?
Oh, really? The business model? I've never heard about it. It's really, it makes sense, totally. There's just not enough words for different things, right? So let's just use the same. Yeah, but speed dating is cool. It's a lot to put in 1 hour, but
yeah, definitely. I didn't know the frame, like the requirements.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not just doing this for Lena, but like for everybody who wants to do that, and that's like a toolbox. You can do this and that.
True.
Exactly. At first, you need 5 hours. No, but I think like an hour is fine, no, for speed dating. Even if you have tiny groups, maybe not everybody gets to speak to everybody, but I think it could be fine. Mm-hmm. But I agree with Alexandra and Madeleine. You have not been here. I think the presentation and maybe the empathy part is one thing, and you can do this very playfully and with like stuff and scenarios, but critical for like the work is actually the what comes afterwards, the planning, how personas can be integrated in workflows. And maybe Lena also thought about this, and she will do it in another workshop or something like that. But I think this is really, I think it was not really part of the case maybe, but I think this is really something that maybe we can have another case about, because I think this is so common that personas get created and then
not used.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I also feel like, I don't know about timing wise how you are planning it, but if that is the most important part of the workshop, to actually make people reflect on how they will use it, it cannot be done in just the 10 last minute. No, it should be like at least, I don't know, half of it or 1/3 of the whole thing. Because there is a conversation there, no, that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely. I mean, like, these kind of the last two parts, like, these two, I think, are maybe you should take them out and do them in as another thing, or like have another hour to just do that. And to really, or like every single team does it for themselves, because like they have different workflows and stuff like that. Then they can think, okay, how can we make this personas visible in everyday life? How can we integrate them in our planning, in our scheduling, in our Scrum methodology, in our planning tools, etc.
Yeah, I really like the idea of a follow-up, like even a short follow-up, or they have time to think about. And then now, okay, it's all, it's settled. Now let's think about how you're actually using that call to action. And I think it would be fine to do that in 2 separate sessions if the team is up for it.
Yeah, that's one risk, but I also I'm thinking about because the way that I do my workshops are always trying to go through the 4 levels of experiential learning if it's possible. And this reflection and application to the real life needs to happen. At the end, that's because otherwise it's going to feel a bit inconclusive, don't you think? If there is no conversation, it's like, okay, so what? No, kind of like this question would be missing if this gets pushed to another workshop. I have this feeling, or I can see that risk, like, if you're there, you met the personas. I feel like that is a way to actually close the workshop. It's like, okay, what can you do? And maybe it can be only 10 minutes just for people to just say something, and then the real application comes in a follow-up or something like that. But at least there should be something like a wrap-up that brings it to the reality.
Yeah, I agree.
Agree. Yeah. It needs to have a round ending.
Exactly.
And having said that, we are also approaching our ending.
True.
5 minutes left, as always. First off, thank you very much. It was a really inspiring brainstorming today. I have at least 2 new ideas that I want to see in the wild, which is the Zoom avatars personas. And really, like, maybe like stickers for Scrum meetings that represent personas or something that you can, like, visualize on Post-its and say, like, okay, this feature is for this persona, and, like, put it on a board, or like in Notion, have these opportunities to put these visual personas in your boards or something like that. So these are my takeaways, but I'm curious about yours. So let's wrap it up with what you've learned today. One concrete thing that you've learned, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, let me start. As always, it's hard for me to pin it down to one thing. I also tend to need a little bit of time to, just have it settle down. I just think it's funny that I might even use it. And so that really made sense for me. There's so many things. Like last time it was the boardwalk. Now it's the gallery walk. It's like a theme you used for coming from you. I really like that. I like the speed dating, and the whole discussion. Also finding a friend actually to play that. I would not have thought about actually bringing people into it. Really? That's cool. So I really like the whole thing, the whole setup, the whole topic. So good challenge from Lena.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, for me, the learning is even the concept of the workshop, no? Like, how do you make people empathize with the personas? I never thought about it. That was even something like a need, because maybe I'm in my bubble, and it's obvious for me that when you have a persona, you go and design for it and all that, but it's not that obvious that you need to make people really empathize with them and think about that. So this was already like a learning for me. And besides that, I love my idea of the speed dating. And it opens up possibilities, right? Especially in the virtual world. How do you make things more interactive or more human? Or how can you use other way of learnings that are not consuming information? So I think this is important for me right now in the virtual world that we are living in, how to, you know, make these meetings online more interactive and entertaining. I think there is a big room for making stuff entertaining and, you know, therefore engaging. So these are my learnings, how to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Thank you very much, Madeleine. Let's wrap it up here. As always, I will clean up the board a little bit, add the stuff that I forgot to note down, and send you the recording for today and per email. And we will see each other maybe, hopefully, next Thursday. Although I think we will change the time for next Thursday. It will be in the afternoon.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Play around, try, test. Try, test, keep going. I think that's the motto.
Keep going. That's the main
Love
thing.
it. Try, test, keep going. Yes.
Thank you very much. It's
Thank
12
you.
and it was a fantastic session. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Julius.
Bye. Bye.
See you soon.